blocks like a couch, like so. And then bring your bolster to lay up against your blocks. And this is the most common shape that we come into in yin. And I'm gonna move between a little yin and a little bit of some flow as well today. You'll bring your tailbone to the base of the bolster, soles of the feet together, and lean back. And as you lean back, you want to make sure that your head is supported by whatever prop you have, whether it's a bolster or a pillow. Okay. And play with the distance of your heels. So your heels can be farther away from your pubic bone or closer in. And once you find that position, allow your knees to softly open. And arms alongside the body, eyes closed. So as we arrive here in our body, may we remember that our breath is the leading force. It's the leading path to allowing our tissues to begin to respond to the shapes that we take on. And we're gonna do a box breath as we are in this shape. And so what you'll do is you'll breathe in, you'll access the pause at the top of the breath. Your belly is full, and then you'll exhale. Access the pause at the bottom of the breath in Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees wide, pat. You can lean back on your props. And allow your body to get present to the way in which the flow of your breath takes place. So is it easier for you to get an inhale and pause? Or is it easier for you to exhale and find that pause? And continuing this breath in and this breath out. A really great saying, and it's really true when we speak about breath, that energy flows where attention goes. And accessing a box breath allows us to learn that we have that ability to regulate our breath pattern. If you notice that your hips are holding on, the knees aren't releasing down, maybe you press the heels a little more forward and towards the, away from your pubic bone. So it might be towards the front of your mat or the back of your mat. Bringing awareness into letting the hip flexors release, into softening your jaw. So one way to soften the jaw is to open it wide and stick your tongue out. As you continue this box breath, I want you to come into one intention for class today. And if it's seeming challenging to find one thing, I offer you nourishment as your intention today. Listening to the way in which we nourish the body, from carving out space to be on our mat, to what we choose to put in our body, to the thoughts that we have repeatedly over and over again. And you get to choose what true nourishment is for you. Or whatever intention you'd like to start with. And from here, go ahead and work to bring your hands to your knees. Draw the knees in. You're going to keep your torso laying back. Bring the feet wide on the mat and let the knees fall in for resting pose. Bring your palms down to the space between your belly button and your pubic bone. Lower navel area, and allow your palms to rest facing down in this position on your body. And if you are still doing the box breathing, allow the box breathing to just taper off into your most natural breath. And figure out what this stillness is offering you in this moment. And take a full deep breath in. Open your mouth and sigh it out audibly. Two more like that. Inhale. And be vocal. One more. Breathe in. Exhale. Let it be loud. And you're going to find your way to one side, whether you tip off the left or the right side of your body. You're going to land in an egg shape on your side body. Rest your cheek on your upper arm. And then from this position, from that egg shape, you'll transition tabletop pose, hands and knees. And if you want to create a little bit more support, you can always bring a blanket underneath your knees. But here we're going to go ahead and take some hip circles. So press the hips back, hips to the heels, shift forward to the left, and then rotate. Let this movement be really slow, ladies, as you shift back to one side and then the other. And if you find a place as you're shifting in this circular motion that is a little more stagnated, go ahead and just stay in that position and breathe into that area that potentially is talking to you. And then you'll find yourself circling your hips back and forward the opposite way. And big hip movements. A little bit more offering of freedom here is you can always extend your arms up and around and then go back into your movement in the circular motion. One way and then the other. And maybe you settle on one side and you just simply breathe into that region of your hip. Find yourself back to neutral table, hands and knees. Lift your left arm high up towards the ceiling and thread your left arm underneath your right armpit. Okay. Left outside shoulder comes to the earth. turn your cheek and come onto the left side of your cheek. So it looks like so. You'll keep the hips high. Notice if you're pressing the hips back. Bring a little bit more weight forward so you can weight the outer ridge of your left shoulder. Okay, with your head down, if it's not touching the earth, grab your block and bring your block underneath your head. Okay, support your body here by pressing your right fingertips into the earth, or add additional weight to your shoulder. Lift your right arm up, bring it to your upper back, low back, or around to your left thigh. And breathe deeply into the back side of your body. And so we're opening up the upper body, which is really not very traditional for yin, but it is a nice shoulder opening. And the other caveat is any of these shapes that we do might not be nice for you. You might settle in and want to move out of the shape within a matter of seconds. So we allow the breath to be our lead, to stay here in this shape among any sensation. And keep tuning in. If you can hear yourself breathe, work to allow the breath to be a lot more quiet. So you can hear the sounds around you more than you can hear your own breath. This quieting of the breath helps to allow the nervous system to reset and to down-regulate, so we are in a place of homeostasis. One more full breath in. Open the mouth and clear it out. Slowly unwind and unravel. Bring your hands down, lift up again, and reach your left arm high up towards the ceiling one more time. Okay, rotate the wrist bone around one way and then the other. And then left hand down. This time, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Really press into your left hand to get extension through your right arm. And then thread your needle. Right arm underneath your left and your armpit. And I'll switch sides and demo. Left ear to your block or towards the floor. Okay. And again, check in. If your hips, since they're up in space and they're kind of behind you right now, are they sinking back towards the heels? Can you lift and direct your hips high over your knees a little bit more? Okay, option 2, lift your right arm and wrap it to your tailbone or to your upper thigh. Check in with each side. Is one side feel more comfortable for you? Can you twist a little more deeply? Okay, the beauty of our bodies is in their asymmetries. As we notice, as we sink in and receive these different shapes, we become more familiar and in a deeper relationship with our body. that relationship as it deepens. That's the most accessible form of nourishment. To know when we feel at home in our body or when we feel uncomfortable. And take one more full breath in. Open the mouth, clear out your air. Unwind, hands and knees, but this time keep reaching your left arm back up towards the ceiling. Rotate the wrist out in one way and in the opposite direction. Okay, this time back to hands and knees. A tabletop, take cat-cows, starting with tucking the tailbone. So we're going to work spinal mapping. And what that means is you're going to tuck the tailbone, round the low back, mid-back, upper back, chin into the chest. Pause here in the cat shape and breathe. Press the floor away from you, spread your fingers wide. If you like your toes tucked, you can keep them tucked or untucked. And now leading with the tailbone. Okay, the pelvis region, lift your tailbone, low back, mid back, upper back lengthens. Reach the crown of your head up and forward. Okay, breathe here, stay in your cow shape. Open broadly through your chest. Simply look up with your eyes, but keep tucking your chin. Know what a long neck really feels like in your body. Now tuck the tailbone. So we're moving extra slow, like molasses, moving through molasses. Tuck everything in, round the spine, press the floor away from you. If any time your wrists bug you, you can always bring your hands into fists and be on fists in this shape. Hold and breathe and pause. Round the spine. Press the shins down. Hug the knees in towards each other. Breathe. And now lift. Tailbone, low back, mid back, upper back. Extend. Long neck. Now begin to imagine there's a string at the top of your head. And it's pulling as far away from your tailbone as it can. So long, long, long neck. And you slowly find neutral in your table. Nice. Okay. Sit back on your heels. Okay, so if sitting on your heels is a little uncomfortable, you can bring your block in between your heels. Okay, or even a pillow underneath your sit bones. Okay. Interlace your hands. So palms face forward, reach the palms out towards the front of your mat and then up towards the ceiling. Root down through your sit bones and now reach palms towards the heavens. Stay here and begin to tip to your right side. Keep lengthening, press your left sit bone down. And now reach up towards the ceiling. Lengthen to your left side, press your right sit bone down. And notice and sense the space from your right sit bone, right hip bone, to your right shoulder, to your right wrist. And then back up. Shift to your right. If the hip really lifts off of the bolster, work to ground and not bend to the side as much. Back to center, to the opposite side. And slowly back to center, release the arms and see if you can swing the arms and allow the arms to just dangle and be heavy. And then go ahead and cross the arms back and forth, one over the other. Still breathing, still opening. Okay, grab your props, your blocks, or your soup cans, water bottles also work, or pillows maybe. Okay. If you can, whatever you're holding on to, if you have the ability to grip the object, go ahead and work to do that so we can work grip strength at the same time. So bring the blocks forward. You're on your knees. Step your left foot between your blocks. Okay. You might have the blocks even higher or the props at a higher height. Tuck your back toes, right toes tuck. Extend your right leg towards the ceiling. Okay, from here, we're going to stay here and breathe. Press deeply into your blocks and fix your pelvis in this shape. Okay, drop your right knee down, okay, and press your right knee up towards the ceiling. Okay, so we're working a little bit more movement through the right hip flexor. Okay, so if I was there with all of you ladies and I was fixing my hands on your pelvis, nothing moves except for the knee. Okay, so keeping a 90-degree angle with your left leg, drop your right knee, right leg back towards the ceiling, press your right heel to the back of your mat. Okay, a few more like this. Press, drop, and press. These are called functional flexors. And so we're working on the deep internal muscles of our hip flexors, our psoas. Okay, drop one more down and then straighten. Keep your right hand on your block or your prop. Extend your left arm high up towards the ceiling. Option to always drop your back knee and stay here and lift and lengthen. Okay. Option to reach the left arm forward and then back and create big circular motions. Okay. Nourishing and bringing the element of water into the joint of your left shoulder, and then switch the directions. Rotate your left arm up and around. Couple more times. Up and around, up and around. Both hands to your props. Extend your forward leg straight. This is a long pyramid. So you can drag your back foot in a little bit more. And now just simply bend over your forward leg. Let your head be heavy. Okay, to create more stability, you can widen the stance. So if your heels are aligned, that would mean you're working to balance on like a tightrope. So if you want to open up the stance, imagine that your heels are on like train tracks to create more stability. And now as you begin to fold forward, let the head be heavy. Maybe you even release the hands to the floor. So you're still rooting through your heels, the ball mounds of your feet. Let your entire upper body, from your hips to your shoulders to your head, is heavy. Okay, to stay present and not get dizzy, you can keep the eyes open and focus your gaze on one point. Okay, but if you feel comfortable with the feet on the earth and your hands supporting, you can also close your eyes. Deep, full breath in. Open the mouth, let it go. Okay. Go ahead and pick up your props. Walk your props to the right. So you're going to do a half circle motion. You're going to end up, you're going to face the opposite direction of your mat with your right foot forward. And go ahead and drop your left knee all the way to the earth. Again, set your props up. So props, blocks, pillows, water bottles on either side of your right foot. Okay. And extend your left leg straight. Okay. Fix the hips. Reach through the crown of your head. So notice if you're looking up with your chin or looking really deeply back, chin into the chest. Okay. Work to create space between the shoulders and your ears here. And then drop the left knee, straighten the left leg. Again, drop the left knee, straighten the left leg. To create even more stability, and you might pick up on this cue, you pull the right heel back and the left toes forward. And then all of a sudden you're trying to create this imaginary crease in the middle of your mat. The feet are stable. You do a couple more. Drop the left knee. Extend, left leg back. One more, drop, left leg back. Left hand on your block, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Option to drop your left knee for stability. Okay, reach your right arm forward. Okay, and then back, start to do big arm circles. Forward and back, forward and back. Let your eyes move with your arm and switch directions as if you're backstroking in a swimming pool. Reach up, back, and around. And maybe the movement is slow. Maybe it's a little quicker for you. One more time. Reach up, back, down. Both hands to your blocks. Tuck your back toes if they're not tucked. Straighten your forward leg. Long pyramid. More stability, slide your back leg up. And lengthen through your spine and take your bow. And you can bend your forward leg any amount that you wish. So the knee can be bent or it can be straight. Just working to allow the hips to be stable, head to be heavy. So you're not working to hold anything up, but there is a release that's available. Okay, this is the work to find stillness between each shape, to access a breath that is easeful, and then to notice when thoughts arise that do not serve you, that do not speak well or keep you in the shape. And ultimately, what are your tools when you are uncomfortable in each asana, which is the pose? Okay, go ahead and lengthen through your spine. Drop your back knee towards the floor. Step your right knee back. Sit back on your heels. Okay, or a prop or a bolster. If this really bugs your knees, you might have a big prop, okay, that you're sitting back on and you're really high. And that's okay. Nice. All right, from here, I'm gonna bring a little bit more movement back into the shape. These are called kneel to heels. Okay, this is a foundational shape that allows us to develop strength again and mobility in our legs so we can get up off the floor without the hands. So from here, I'll actually face forward so you can see. All right. So our diaphragm works like this. When we breathe in, the diaphragm comes down and opens really wide. As we breathe out, the diaphragm comes in and up and creates this inner abdominal pressure around our spinal column. So we're learning to move with the way in which our breathing muscle actually operates naturally for us. So you're gonna take your arms, we're gonna bring fluidity for the arms as well. We're gonna breathe in, open wide, breathe in, exhale, hands come in and lift up, press into the shins. Good. Slowly come down, hands to heart, pause. Okay, so we're lifting, and I'll just demo real quick and then we'll cue. We're really pressing into the shins and the tops of the feet to lift the hips high. Okay. All right, so breathe in, down wide, belly is soft. Exhale, lift, reach up. And slowly descend, no breath really on the descension. Find the bottom of your shape, no breath. Inhale, breathe wide and deep so we can access the full breath mechanic. Lift up, exhale. You can reach your arms up, you can do wave motions. And then slowly come down, hands through heart center. Pause, shoulders soft. Inhale, breathe down, breathe wide. Exhale, go ahead and lift all the way up. Maybe lift the gaze to the hands. Okay, slowly come back down, just a couple more. Okay, I'm not going to cue, you're just going to simply move and flow with your own breath. Nice. One more. You're going to hold a tip forward, hands to the mat, cross your ankles behind your body. It kind of looks like this. And then you're going to find your way onto your sit bones, your sit back behind the heels. Make sure your blanket is nearby. And we're going to move into a forward fold. So set up your blanket underneath your sit bones. Extend your legs forward for caterpillar. Okay, we're working to target the low back. You can bring blocks underneath your knees as well, but if you have pretty open hamstrings, you might not need the blocks. Okay. You can bring a pillow on top of your body and lean forward. Okay. So any amount of lean forward, you just remember, hinge at the hips to then bow over the legs. You can always have props. You can build yourself a kingdom. You can have the blocks underneath. So if you bring your bolster on top, the bolster's a little closer to the chest. And as you come forward, find yourself a comfortable position for the head. So you can have one cheek to one side or the forehead down. Now you check in with the feet. Notice if you're flexing the feet, see if you can just simply soften the ankle bones and soften the toes. Allow your whole body to lean forward. And as we hold these more traditional yin shapes, the gold is really in the hold, how long we stay. So anywhere from 3 to 5 to 7 minutes is really traditional, which allows for us to move more deeply into the shapes as time progresses. We might end up setting our props off to the side to move more deeply in. For a long time, I was a little bit envious of my teacher who, I've said her name before, Luann Burnett. She was, I think, in her early 60s, and she was the most flexible person I knew. She was also really strong, but she didn't overdo it. So it's kind of the same thing. I like to integrate in some of those more traditional functional movement patterns, and then so we can stabilize. And then also yin is more the traditional pattern to allow the tissues to become more flexible. And once your body moves to its most mobile position, it's actually more challenging to step back and create stabilization. So that's why we're careful to not overly exert ourselves when we're in these different shapes. And I would say the most healthy people are the ones who have a more balance between being very mobile and being very stable. Okay, keep checking in. Where are you holding on? What do you need to release to melt into the shape? And revisit your intention. Allow that to be your focal point. All right, one more full deep breath. Open your mouth, clear it out. Bring your hands alongside your legs. Find your way up to a sitting position. Okay, and if you are on a prop, I'm going to have you take the blanket out from underneath you. You're going to find your way all the way to your back. Resting pose in the back, feet wide. Sway the knees back and forth, one side and then the other. If you prefer stillness to receive the shape as is coached for traditional yin, you can be in stillness. Notice the gentle buzzing of your tissues, of the cells, waking up, resetting. Okay, but if movement is really drawing for you, you can also do that. Again, learning true nourishment for your soul, your body. All right, great. From here, you're on your back. This is okay, but you might want to come up to your forearms, okay? Or you might come all the way up to your hands. And we're going to work loosening the hips individually. And so what you're going to do is you're going to drop your right knee in, extend your right leg, and go in a full circle motion. Bend your right knee, drop the right knee in, extend the leg, and rotate in a circle. And so option is to simply rotate with the knee and the leg bent in a circle with the right knee caving in. But if you can extend the leg and learn to rotate just from the joint of your right hip, do that as well. Okay, so this is a lot of work actually. Dropping the right knee, lift the foot and do some rotations, one direction and then the other. So this would be the short lever of the leg. If you extend the leg, then you're just adding weight to the motion that you're using your hip for. Okay, let's pause. Go ahead and sway the knees from side to side. And let's switch sides to give the right leg a break. This time, drop the left knee in. Extend the left leg. Go ahead and work circular motions. Okay. Option is to drop the left knee, keep the knee bent, and work the circular motions with the internal rotation of the hip right here. Okay, okay, so drop, extend, rotate. Okay, check in with your breath. Are you breathing? Okay, so you might just be moving, trying to operate simply from the hip. Okay, back to center. Extend the legs out long and shake the legs up and down. Pitter-patter them. Okay, grab your thighs and shake the thighs as well. And notice the tissues really want to be loose. So if you feel like they're really holding on, keep shaking those thighs. Nice. All right, we're gonna make this a little bit easier. This time, so we started with the right side. Come on to your left side, left forearm to the mat. You're kind of setting up like you're gonna model. This time, right hand to the hip. Lift your right knee, close the right knee in. Okay, so right leg lifts, right knee in. Option to continue simply doing this motion. Right leg opens, knee to the ceiling, right knee down, or begin to really start to do bigger circular motions. Okay. Less weight of the leg. We don't have to lift it up as much. This might be more accessible. And then rotate the leg in the opposite direction. And see if you can let the rotation and the movement come from the hip. The knee's not moving, your ankle's not moving. Option 2, here we go again. Extend the lever and let your leg be long. Rotate one direction and then the opposite direction. Okay, nice. Go ahead and switch sides. So just pivot and rotate over to your right side, right forearm down. Left hand to your left hip. Okay. Left knee towards the ceiling. Drop the left knee in towards your right knee. Open and close. So this is really external rotation, internal rotation of the hip. Okay. Internal rotation, knees touch, external rotation, left knees to the ceiling. Option to begin to do more circular motions, one direction and then the other. Notice what your bottom leg has to do to also stabilize. When you lift up your top knee, does your right leg come right off the floor with it? So can you have opposing actions? Drive the right knee down with doing these bigger motions with your left hip. Okay, extend the leg long. Option. Couple more rotations. Then left knee in. And find your way to your belly. Crocodile shape, palms of the hands over each other, forehead rests on the palms. Pause here. Okay, so let's remember here that our body, it's this beautiful matrix that makes up a whole being. And one of the most accessible ways to get into and get more familiar with our matrix is by breathing. And it's this diaphragmatic breath. So we've done breathing, sitting, folding, standing. And let's learn, this is one of the most accessible ways to find your diaphragmatic breath is on the belly. So when you breathe in, allow the belly, your navel to come deeply and press into the earth. And then as you exhale, notice the low belly button simply lifts off the floor without you having to pull it in. And another really nice cue is to imagine that you're breathing into each cheek of your bum. Okay, so can you get your bum cheeks to lift up and flare and move back towards your heels? And keep breathing in this pattern. And can you hear the breath? And you can also imagine as if you're sipping air out of a straw. It's a steady, it's a consistent breathing in. It's not a, it really is just like a sipping of air to continually learn to fill up the low lungs, mid lungs, upper lungs. And also a gentle release of the air, not a flattening, not a complete emptying, but an intentional flow of breath out of the nose. And if you're really breathing through the mouth, I continually encourage you to work with nasal breath. This time, release your arms out like a T. And I'll demo on the left side, but you're going to roll to your right side. You can have the right arm out long, okay, or you can bend the right arm, like a cactus arm or a goalpost. From here, use your left fingertips to roll onto your right shoulder. An option to keep the legs long, or bend your left leg and bring it to the floor behind your right. Again, if the head is lifted, you might want a block or a blanket underneath. Let's see if I was on this. Underneath your head. Tuck the chin slightly, lengthen through your neck. If the legs are long, maybe you bend the knees so it comes, and it's not originating in the back, but we're also opening through the shoulders again. And so breathe deeply into your left shoulder or right shoulder. Breathe into the space behind your heart. And breathe into the divot right at the base of the skull of your head. You can always play with adjusting your arm so the elbow can be a little bit higher. It might take it a little bit more out of the shoulder or a little lower. You are looking for a place where it's a little iffy if you want to stay there a little longer or not. But not pain, very different. A full deep breath in. Open the mouth, let it go. Slowly unwind, belly to the earth. And this time bring your arms back along your body, either forehead down or cheek to one side. Maybe bring your cheek to the opposite side to stretch out the neck. Okay, or forehead down. And allow your hips to rock back and forth. And this time set up. You need to take this shape on your opposite arm. Left arm long, roll over onto your right shoulder, left leg behind your back, or opposite. And keep working to tuck your chin. How much space can you create between the shoulders and the ears? I think among everything that's going on in our world right now, we always have this opportunity to settle back into us, to look deeply inside and explore what is working and what is not working. And it's pretty obvious when we end up in stillness, where we want to get up and run away from, where we choose to set our sights on as form of like intentional movement forward or in form of distraction. So holding the shapes, getting quiet, really gives us the opportunity to be with, and a learning to be with ourselves, which is the only thing we actually have some form of control over, is how we show up for us. And how we can show up for others. Okay, full breath in, full breath out. Slowly unwind. This time you're going to unwind so you end up on your back. If you have your blanket, you bring your blanket underneath the back of your head, enough that when your head is neutral, when your head is back on the blanket, your chin isn't lifting up and you're not really pulling the chin in. So you want to find a place where, and even with my neck and my alignment, the blanket folded about at this height is really, really accessible for me and comfortable. When it's even lower, really thin, I need more support. Why we set our blankets up behind the head is so that when we begin to neutralize the neck in this position, we have so much more access to the airway. Okay, from here, extend the legs long, palms open, wherever you lay your arms so that they're feeling not bound, to breathe and receive on the back side of your body. Take a full deep breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. Bend at your knees. Okay. Allow the feet to be as wide on your mat or wider. Okay. Allow the knees to fall to the left. Cactus the arms, gaze over your right shoulder for a really open supine twist. Okay. Option to extend the left arm above your head. Bring your right hand to your left wrist and bring a little additional stretch to the left side body with the knees falling to the left as well. Breathe in. Open the mouth, breathe out. Slowly release the bind of the hand and the wrist if you have that. Okay. Upper body neutral, lift the knees. Drop the knees to the right. Okay. Cactus the arms or reach your right arm above your head. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. Gaze over your left shoulder. Okay. Create length through your right side body. Knees fall to the right. Full breath in, breath out, slowly upper body neutral, knees up. This time bring the knees into the chest. Okay. Hug your knees in, allow the thighs to compress. Okay. The lower region of your abdominals and your organs. A sweet, gentle contraction. Okay, and let's end the practice with the legs up. Okay, so if you have a block, prop, bolster, you're going to bring let's see, the easiest way would bring your feet to the earth, lift the hips, block underneath your sacrum. So it's almost below the hips as well. You find the position where you lift the heels above the knees, knees above the hips, and the legs feel weightless. That might mean you really need to shimmy this block around underneath your low back to figure out where that is accessible for you. And if this is not an interest of you, this is called waterfall. And you can always keep the legs extended to take a traditional resting shape. If the legs are up, you can bring the feet down to the earth. Lift the hips, remove your block, and then extend the legs out for full resting shape. And bring your palms over your heart. Allow the palms to just simply rest over your chest. It is widely known in many healing practices that resting our palms on our chest and our heart helps to comfort our tissues while inviting in a feeling of gratitude. So in this moment, as gratitude being one of the highest vibrational feelings that we can emit and that we can have access to transform feelings, thought, pain of the body. And let's come into a place of gratitude around your top 3 things in your life right now. And go ahead and roll with, like, what are the first 3 things that you hear that come up in your mind? Use those and seal them into your heart in this moment. And these are the things you are grateful for. One of those things could be you. You could simply be grateful for yourself. And you could be grateful that you have eyes to see your family, your health, an animal in your life. And once you've identified these 3 things, go ahead and repeat them to yourself again and again and again. And allow this feeling of gratitude to envelope you, to nourish you, so you feel held. Take a full breath in. Go ahead and exhale gratitude. Bring your arms down, hug your knees into your chest. And find your way to one side. The side that's yin energetically is the left side, which is our feminine energy. Our yang side is the right side, the masculine. And we're simply working to be a vessel that embodies both fields of energy. And press up to a seated position, seated shape. And you can bring the hands together at the traditional Anahata Mudra, the heart center, or the palms over the heart, which is really one of my favorite mudras here. The winged hands. And Loka Samasa Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free of suffering. Namaste.